Sometimes, a person's fate is decided in just a single day. One choice, one step, one throw of a spear. 30,000 years ago, in the frozen steppe, a person did not become an adult with age. They became an adult through their actions. Every young man of the tribe had to prove that he could protect his people. And the most dangerous trial was considered the hunt for a mammoth. But one day, a young hunter had to face this trial earlier than anyone expected. His name was Tar. He was younger than most of the hunters. He had barely lived 20 winters. He was fast, strong, but in the eyes of the elders, he was still only an apprentice. Tar was learning to watch the animals, to read the tracks, to listen to the wind. But it is one thing to observe, and a completely different thing to lead the hunt. In this tribe, there was an ancient tradition. Every new hunter had to pass a trial. He had to lead the hunt, not simply take part, not simply throw a spear. He had to lead the people forward and prove that he could make decisions. But usually this happened much later, when a man had already lived many winters. One day, the old chief of the tribe gathered the hunters. Fresh tracks lay in the snow, the tracks of a massive beast, a mammoth, a lone male that had recently left the herd. Such mammoths were the most dangerous, but they also became the greatest prey. The chief studied the tracks for a long time and then suddenly said, "Today, the hunt will be led by Tar." Some hunters looked at each other. Others smiled quietly. Too young, too little experience. But no one argued, because the chief rarely made mistakes, and Tar already understood there was no way back. The tracks led through the cold steppe. The wind covered them with a thin layer of snow, but the experienced eyes of the hunters saw everything. Heavy footprints, broken bushes, marks from the giant tusks that sometimes scraped the ground. The mammoth was close, very close. Tar studied the tracks for a long time. Then he looked across the plain and finally toward a distant ravine. If they could drive the mammoth there, its movements would become slower. It was risky, but they had no other chance. The hunters silently nodded. They accepted his plan. The mammoth stood on the open plain, huge, covered with thick fur. Its tusks gleamed in the cold light. The hunters began to move, slowly, quietly. But suddenly, the wind changed, and the mammoth smelled the people. The giant lifted its head. It understood. These were not just animals in the steppe. These were humans. The mammoth turned, and instead of running away, it charged toward them. The ground trembled. Snow exploded under its massive feet. The hunters scattered. Some lost their balance. Someone threw a spear too early. The plan was falling apart. And in that moment, every eye turned to Tar. He understood. If they ran now, the hunt would end, and someone might die. Tar grabbed his spear and ran toward the mammoth, not straight, but to the side. He needed to distract the giant. The mammoth saw him and changed direction. Now the giant was chasing Tar, 6 tons of power. Tar ran toward the ravine, just a little more, just a few more steps, and suddenly the ground beneath the mammoth became soft. The mammoth slowed. Its massive legs began to sink. This was the moment. The hunters understood immediately. Spears flew one after another. Now the giant no longer had its former strength. The struggle lasted long. The mammoth roared, tried to break free, but slowly its movements became weaker, and finally, the enormous giant collapsed. Silence fell over the plain. The hunters stood still. Then someone looked at Tar and smiled, because the trial had been passed. That day, the young hunter became a leader, not because he was the strongest, but because he did not run when fear became overwhelming. And perhaps it was people like him, tens of thousands of years ago, who began to change the world. People who could stand before a giant and take one step forward.